Thank you so much for joining us. From the list making the rounds, are you surprised about Otuado dropping certain players?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm extremely surprised because he did hint in the September international window when Ghana faced Nicaragua and Brazil that he's already almost made up his mind, essentially saying that he's picked about 70% of the players and it would take something really good to be able to break into the team. And so I'm not really surprised. I expected a very similar squad to what we saw in the last window. And most of these players who are being dropped were not part of that squad. I think the surprising name would be Felix Afenajan. He's been part of Otuado's team since they came for the game against Nigeria. He's featured in almost every game for the Black Stars. But one can understand that his transfer in the Serie A to Cremonese and his lack of minutes perhaps has really led to him being dropped out of the team, coupled with the fact that other players have also made themselves available for selection. So I think Felix is the biggest surprise to me. Joseph Painter was an outside name. He never really had any chance under Otuado. Has played just one game. Right. And unfortunately, Otuado, he's not part of the 70% that Otuado had picked, and he didn't do enough for the extra 30% as well. So I think Felix is the biggest surprise, and probably followed by Joseph Painter.
Okay, and what message is the technical team sending across with the players that are not going to the World Cup?
It was always a difficult task because it's the dream of every player to feature at the biggest football event in the world. And it happens just every 4 years. And so once you're on that 55-man shortlist, you start to dream. And so coaches also have that extra task of calling the 29 who wouldn't be making it to tell them that, unfortunately, you will not be part of the squad. It's a difficult job to do. But the central message to most of the players is the fact that, unfortunately, there are just other players who are much suited to our system currently. So you wouldn't be able to, break into the team. And some players took it well. Other players are a bit disappointed, especially Joseph Painter, who thought he has done enough this season and thinks that he is better than some of the wingers that are being called. Better in the sense that he's scoring and assisting at a faster rate and a better rate than some of the wingers that we're hearing would be in the squad. And so that has been the central message, that there are other options that they are more accustomed to. And unfortunately, they would rather pick them up. For Jeffrey Schlupp, it was a bit dramatic because a member of his agency did, go really livid on social media, insulting the Ghana Football Association, saying that they don't want to hear from the Ghana Football Association anymore. And the message around is that Schlupp was told that Otuado said he just hadn't seen enough of the player to be able to take that risk to put him in the squad just a few weeks to the World Cup. So unfortunately, he will not be picking him. And that's a message that wasn't well received by Jeffrey Schlupp's camp.
Lastly, do you have any hope in the squad, and what is your expectation?
Well, I do have hope. I do have hope because when we least expected them to reach the World Cup, they managed to, go past that huge mountain of Nigeria, who were so much in form and had all those quality players up front. I think it's just a few things left to tweak in the team to make Otuado has to be bold. That's the key thing. He has to be bold. I think he has the resources to be able to pull a surprise in Qatar, and a lot will be dependent on how bold he is to make some key decisions. But it's always a World Cup. We've seen Ghana go to the global stage and make themselves count. I think a group of Portugal, Uruguay, South Korea, on paper, it looks difficult, but all these teams have some gaps that if Ghana remain compact and do believe, they could be able, they could, cause an upset. So I'm hopeful that Otuado would be bold enough to make the right decisions. And if he does, I expect the team to at least go past the group stages.
Right. Thank you very much. And that was my colleague, Rick Wampo, for giving us some updates on the Black Stars and what would be the outcome